Hi there, my name is David Jennings and I'm a Technical Solutions Architect within the CCEP team. I'm going to take some time today to show you the Analytics Demonstration tool. I'm going to explain to you what it's for and what it's capable of, and then I'm going to run you through a short customer demo showing how you can use the tool to show the analytics capabilities of the Control Hub. The CCEP Analytics Demo tool is part of the CCEP Toolbox suite of demo tools, and it gives you the ability to safely show the analytics sections of the Control Hub, and critically, you can do that without compromising data security. There are no real usernames in there. Everything that you can see in there is generated by back-end automation and bots. So you don't need to expose either your organization or another customer organization to be able to effectively show realistic looking analytics. These bots are regularly joining meetings, sending messages and making calls in a pseudo-simulated fashion, which makes it look like a real live fictional company. The demonstration uses the real Control Hub, so it gives you the most realistic experience possible. There are no skinned websites here or synthetic pumping in of information. Every call, every message that you see through the Control Hub is a real message and call that happened. So without further ado, I'll start with a short demonstration of how to use the tool. So here we are in my sandbox, and on the left hand side you can see the various sections that I have within my sandbox. Everything from a demonstration perspective, you're going to find that in the demo tools. So if I expand that section out, you can see here we have the Control Hub Analytics Demo. So I'm going to click that, and there's some basic instructions here on how to access the demo. The way this works is you will log into a real live Control Hub for the organization in which the analytics is being populated, but you will have read-only administrative rights. So you won't be able to see all content, you'll just be able to see those sections which are available to read-only administrators. Down here we can just click copy, and that's going to copy the password to our clipboard for easy use. You can also hit show, and it's going to show the password. Now this password changes regularly, so we do recommend that just before you do your demonstration, you come in here and just make sure that you've got the correct password. And then we hit the green button here, sign into demo. When we click that button, it's going to automatically log us through, enter our email address. So the only thing that you need to do here is just paste in the password and click sign in. So it's a nice, easy, smooth login process. Once we get into the organization, what you'll see is initially we'll get the read-only administration mode alert just to tell us. Now this is, to all intents and purposes, a full org, so you can actually access all of the sections in here that you would expect. So you can actually, within your demonstration, branch out if you choose and talk about some of the other Control Hub features. But today we're going to just look at on analytics. So if we select analytics, now a pro tip here. The way that the analytics report generation works is the very first time you run that report is cached. And what the result of that is the first time you run these reports, it can take some time for the report to run. However, the second time you log in and run that report, the report will occur much quicker. So we do recommend 15 to 20 minutes before your demonstration, log into the org and generate the reports. That way the second time round when you run the reports, they will be much quicker. Now there are a few different approaches you can take when you're demonstrating the analytics. I personally like to follow through the kind of more traditional unified communications path or collaboration path. So I'll start with messaging and then move through calling and devices. I'll briefly mention video mesh, and then I'll move on to meetings and branch out from there. When I'm in the messaging section, I'll point out the dashboard tiles at the top here, which will show the most recent high-level statistics. And I'll explain these various different graphs, and I'll also mention that if they hover over the I button here or click on the I button, it's going to give them an overview of what that particular graph does. And I'll also explain how they can use the lasso tool to review a graph in more depth. So for example, maybe I want to review this particular area of the graph because there's high utilization. I can just lasso that, hit the tick button there, and you'll see that the graphs across the entire page update automatically. And to remove that filter, we can just click there and it's going to clear out and we're back to default. I'll also mention that we can view this in a daily, a weekly or a monthly view as well, so we can kind of see further times for more trends. Moving on from messaging, I'll then discuss calling. So when we talk about calling, I'll point out that the graphs are managed in much the same way as they are through the messaging. The key thing to mention when you look at calling is we also have the quality tab here. So we can see we've got our calls listed, we can see the calls listed by device and desktop, some details at the bottom here, and we can hit the quality button and we can see quality. We can see that we did have some calls which were poorer quality. Now, so we actually have WAN emulation built into this tool, so some calls are intentionally poorer quality than would be normally seen. But if you come in here and you don't have any poor quality calls listed, you can just manipulate these sliders to reduce the characteristics of what you consider to be a poor quality call, and you can bring some calls into the poor quality bracket so that the customer can see how that looks. I'll then move on to devices. We do not presently include care within the analytics demonstration. This is something we plan to introduce, but at the moment we don't have that. But if we look into devices, we do have device statistics here, so we can see device usage over time. We've also got the device utilization reports, and we can see down at the bottom we also have the device details for this particular org. We can filter by type of device. Now within the present analytics demo, we've got DX70s and DX80s only. We are looking to branch out and include some room-based systems as well. And then finally, we have the video mesh node. So we can come in here. We do have a video mesh node included within the Webex Analytics tool, demo tool. And you can see that we've got statistics of utilization. We can also see that we've had some calls which have gone to overflow to cloud and so on. So we have those graphs. And we also have the adoption. So if we click on adoption here, you can see that we have more statistics. And we can increase the timer to give us some more interesting stats here. So if we look at the over the last month, we can see graphs, we can see the usage of or the usage type devices, and we can see whether we've got Windows or devices or so on. So that's everything on the Webex calling side. So at this point we'll move on to meetings. So this is the meetings component of the analytics demo. So you can see that we've got kind of the traditional overall usage here. Again, we can see that graphed out over time when the graphs appear. Here we go. There we go. So you can see that we've got the days graph, and again we can switch to weekly or monthly so that we can see statistics over longer periods of time. We can also select quality here, and we can see that we have statistics for quality, poorer quality and better quality. Now at the moment within the analytics demonstration tool, all calls are VoIP calls. We are working on bringing PSTN calling into this, but at the moment everything is VoIP. So if we go into the audio section here, you can see that all of our calls are VoIP in this case. So that's the overall Webex Meetings analytics. And then we also have the classic tab here. So when I'm demonstrating to this to customers, I normally present this as being like the call detail records or the historical reporting. So I'll go into meeting usage and I'll run some reports off, say for yesterday and today. Okay, so I'm just going to display that report for now. And we can see that we've got various meetings here that have been scheduled, and we can see that they're in various different personal rooms of users within our org. I normally like to pick out a meeting here, and I'll kind of follow that meeting through. So for example, we can see that we have here Jensen Jones had a meeting on the 29th that lasted for 27 minutes. If I hit detail here, we'll get a little bit of detail on the meeting. And what I'll normally do here as well is I'll take the opportunity to copy out that email address. And the reason for that is we can actually track this meeting through. So if we go through to the troubleshooting section here, we can paste in the email address of the user that we are interested in, and we're going to get the meetings listed here, and we can access those troubleshooting reports that the customers really like to see. So I can select this meeting here with 5 participants, for example, and we get that ladder graph that we'd expect. And what we can see in this ladder graph is we can see a timeline of how the meeting happened. So we can see the people that joined. We can hover over and see the means by which they joined. We can see the time that they joined. We can see whether they had a good join experience. We can see very quickly, just by looking at the color of the line, the quality experience. This particular meeting, we had good quality throughout. If we hover over that, we can get more details, so we can see the latency and we can see the loss. Now, if the customer asks what determines a poorer quality call, what we can do is we can hover over the I button here, and it's going to tell us that, for example, a poor quality call would be one with more than 5% packet loss or a latency of over 400 milliseconds. We have voice statistics, we have video statistics obviously as well, and we can export that to a JSON file, or we can demonstrate to the customer that they can do that. And if we hit on the participants as well, we'll get a list of participants in the meeting, and we'll see their IP address and the location from which they joined the meeting. So in conclusion, what did we see in that demonstration? So we saw that the Analytics Demo tool is accessible via the CCEP toolbox, and we saw how it gives you the ability to safely show the analytics sections of the Control Hub. And you don't need to compromise data security by potentially showing real personally identifying information. And again, we saw how it used the real Control Hub, so it really gives you the most realistic experience possible. So I'd like to thank you for your time and good luck with your demos.